What's up, guys? Zen Gaming here. Today we're going to be going over a little bit about Shaman, PvP, Resto Healing. So first we're going to get right into it and start with talents. For the first tier, level 15 talents, we're going to go with Astral Shift. The 40% less damage taken for 6 seconds. This is a must-have over Stonewart, Buckler, and the Nature's Guardian. Personally, the other two talents, this is nice, no doubt, but it's just not the 40% less damage. This Nature's Guardian with the health is very nice, don't get me wrong, but I just don't, I would rather have this in a situation where I'm needing heals and I need to pop it quick. This is my go-to talent. This is what I prefer, and a lot of people like it. Other people I've talked to always have went with this. The other two talents are nice, but they just don't have the 40% less damage, which is very important when somebody's bursting on you, when somebody's hitting you hard, like a DK setting up his burst and then bursting on you. That can be deadly. If a fully geared DK can hit for 109k without bursting, and that's life or death right there. And if I'm getting trained, I want to be able to pop that and have that the damage reduction right there. So that's what I prefer. I think it's the hands down best talent. The second tier, which is 30, I went with Windwalker Totem. It can kind of be a toss up between Earth Grab Totem and Windwalker Totem. I think the Windwalker Totem works better because not just for yourself, but for everybody else. When you can be immune to movement impair effects, so like roots, warrior hamstrings, anything like that, I think is great. Warrior charges where they can root you for a few seconds. I think this is the ideal thing. Once again, if you're playing with a caster comp and you need that extra little mobility, right there it is. If you're playing against 2 melee or even a melee, the most important thing is being able to get away from them, especially as a healer, because they can sit there and beat on you and interrupt you and stuff like that. So Windwalker Totem is hands down the best choice in my opinion here. Earth Grab can be useful, although you already have the Earth Bind Totem. So I would definitely go with the Windwalker here. Frozen Power, I don't use Frost Shock. You can, but I would much rather go with the Windwalker Totem. For the next tier, 45, I went with Call of Elements, which is nice because it resets all the cooldowns on my totems. With you're not going to get your big totems here. You're not going to be with your Healing Tide and your Spirit Link totem. You're not going to get those cooldowns, but you're going to have your Cloud Burst totem back up. You're going to have your Healing Stream totem back up, your Cap totem, Trimmer totem, Grounding totem. All those are just going to be reset instantly. So you got a burst on you. You throw down Cap, which is going to stun them. You throw down Trimmer, which is going to get you out of Charm, Fear, any kind of CC. They're going to pop down, and then you pop. Well, take damage there from the fucking Raiden totem, but you're going to pop your Grounding totem, which is also going to soak up a Chaos Bolt, certain things like that, which we'll get into later. So I think here the Call of Elements is best. Thematic Persistence is nice, but you have an extra room for a totem, which you can throw down. You can't use a fire totem, which it just kind of depends on the approach you're taking. A lot of people like to go in and be a little aggressive with the fire elemental. So this takes a fire elemental away, and it takes your Searing Totem away, which is not that big of a deal, but it could be nice in the sense that maybe you need to throw down 2 of the same totems and get that out of the way. So I can see where you could take it, but I honestly don't recommend it. Thematic Projection is nice, I guess, if you're it can relocate it. So like your cap totem, it takes a few seconds for it to go off. It's done after 5 seconds. So that's forcing you to kind of, if you're in Ghost Wolf and they're training you, or even a melee's on you, they're peeling on you, you're trying to run around. It kind of saves you from having to run around that all the time because you may miss your stun, which is nice. But personally, I would go with Call of Elements because even though it may go off, I can pop it again and place it right back on top of myself and keep running around the pillars or playing pillar game, whatever you need to do. So here I went with Call of Elements, so I think that's your best. This is a matter of preference. I'm not a professional, I'm not big, but this is my personal preference and what I've had experience with working the best. Tier 4, your 60 talent, I went with Echo of Elements. Instead of Ancestral Swiftness, I could see where it would be nice, but it does increase your haste and your attack speed, but I went with Echo here, but for simply the 2 charges of Riptide, 2 charges of Unleashed, and the 2 Spirit Link totems. I mean, those are all things that you're going to be using 9 times out of 10. Elemental Mastery, I really don't see you using that much. I mean, yeah, it is 30% haste for 20 seconds, but, I mean, that sounds like more of an Elemental. Or an enhancement talent for me, but the Echo of Elements, your biggest heal right here is a lot of your big heals are coming from Unleashed Life. So boom, 37k, boom, 144k. Without it, 74k. That's a matter of life and death right there, guys. You could be down so low, but I can pop you with this, and you may live, but they get a big crit off on you, you're dead. Right here, some of your biggest executes aren't going to hit that high. That's full health right there, guys. That is full health right there. Boom. Big K. Well, I mean, still, that's right there. Back up. And I think that's something you need to take into consideration because you only have one of them. So, I'm only hitting one there. Boom. 144k. I think having 2 of those where I can pop them off back to back, your DPS is getting trained. You're getting trained. Either way, you need to pop a big heal off, top somebody off because a burst is coming. You recently got out of CC. Anything like that. When you're coming out and you can just pop 2 of those, right there's a 37k crit. Boom, 44k. Pop another one, 18k. Boom, 187k. That's a big difference right there, guys. And I think that's your best choice here, but simply because you have 2 of them. 2 Spirit Links. I mean, 2 Riptides. And personally, a lot of times when I'm playing the pillar game and I'm running around, I don't have a lot of time to stop and cast before they're going to interrupt me. So I'm just throwing those, which also increases my speed while I'm in Ghost Wolf. And something else you can do is you can cast it in Ghost Wolf, guys. Look at that. Yeah, I didn't know that either, but I learned it as I was doing the video. But if you're in Ghost Wolf, you can use Unleash Elements, and it increases your speed. So I'm sitting there popping 2 of those, just like that. And personally, I think this is your best option here. Okay, on to the next talent, which is going to be 75. I'm going with Rushing Stream here. This is one of those talents where it's kind of depending on if you're doing 2s or 3s. Because you can go with Ancestral Guidance if you're doing 3s, which is nice because Rushing Stream is 15% more healing for 2 people. See, healing string totem right here. It's only going to heal 2 people. So, I can see why you may be like, I don't know if that's a good talent, it's only healing 2 people, but it's 15% more additional damage to 2 people. I'm not saying use it in 3s. There could be situations where you could use it in 3s, but this right here, I mean, for 2s, this is your talent right here. Ancestral Guidance for 3s, definitely take it. That's my choice for 3s, but right now I'm going over 2s. This is something that you have to have in 3s, in my opinion, because it's healing everybody. And, it is a 2-minute cooldown, but still, this one's only healing 2. This one's healing 3. So, it just depends on what you're doing, what your comp is, and certain things like that. Conductivity, I mean, I really don't see you using it. You don't have a lot of time to get off Healing Rain. I mean, it's what, a 2-second cast? 1.73, so round up to 3. I mean, you're not going to be able to get everybody to stand right here in this circle, hold hands, and I mean, it's not the perfect situation. You know, you're not going to be able to have that. So you're not going to be able to throw that up and ask everybody to stand in this while they're healing. I mean, you just can't do it, and you're probably going to get interrupted. So, like I said, rushing streams for this tier of talents at 75 is your best talent. 4 2s, Ancestral for 3s. So you got level 90 talents here. I went with Unleashed Fury. Increases your healing from Unleashed Life by 50%. Like I said, you know, that's where I'm getting those big heals out of, those 300k heals. That's where I'm getting that from, is Unleashed Fury. And even heals on myself. I don't see Primal Elementalist here. I really don't see it. I mean, I would not use that at all in 2s or 3s. Elemental Blast would be the only other thing I could possibly see using at certain times, because of the simple fact, maybe you could use this one at lower ratings where you're having problems with your DPS maybe not being as high. You're playing with a friend. Your DPS isn't as high, so you run out of mana. Certain things like that. Even in 3s, if you're playing with lower comps where, you know, long games, where you're gonna know it's gonna be a long game. The comp you're going against it's gonna force you to have a long game, a lot of CC, certain things like that. Elemental Blast wouldn't be a horrible talent to take because of the simple fact that it increases your crit, haste, mastery, multi-strike by 500 for 8 seconds, and your spirit by 1,000, which is a big thing. But like again, I go back to getting interrupted. And you have to be able to fake here. You have to be able to fake. That's what's going to set you apart from a good player and a bad player. Bad players don't fake. Good players can fake. And that's something you'll learn as you play in arenas. But Elemental Blast, I mean, it's a preference, but I like Unleashed Fury personally. I like those big heals. For your last talent, your level 100, I pick Cloudburst here for the you know, you're throwing it down. You know you're going to be healing big here, or maybe you're just creating a little pressure, but they're taking some damage. So you want to throw this up. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Cloudburst is going to heal you back for whatever you heal. So if I'm healing here, topping people off right there, 50k. It's a little extra. I mean, I wasn't healing much there, but it's a little extra heals, and I personally think it's better than Storm Elemental Totem or High Tide. High Tide, they both seem like more of a PvE talent to me, especially High Tide in your chain heal. Personally, I don't use chain heal a lot. I do some, but I don't use it enough to where I need to take that talent over Cloud Burst. And Storm Elemental Totem, I mean, it's nice, 100% of the damage dealt. So you're looking at about, you know, 50k, 40k, somewhere in there. But personally, I'm going with Cloudburst here. Alright, moving on. Let's go to glyphs now. This is a must-have glyph. I never change it, the glyph of the healing stream, because of the reduction to the nature, frost, and fire damage by 10% for 6 seconds. So that's really nice. Glyph of the Spirit Walker's Aegis. I like it because when I'm casting Spirit Walker's Grace, when I'm casting that and I'm running, I can't be interrupted. So I can sit here and cast all till Spirit Walker's Grace runs out, rather. Not all day. Wish I had all day. And I can't be stunned, interrupted, anything like that. So that's a sure talent right there. I mean, I really don't replace it either, to be honest. This one is kind of a utility spot right here. It increases your Purify for a max of 2 charges, which can come in really handy. The Cleansing Waters is also something you may use a lot. Whenever you dispel a harmful effect, or magic, or curse rather, you will also receive 4% of your maximum health healed, which is nice. You know, if you're going against a comp where you got a warlock, a priest, Certain, classes like that, maybe even a shaman with moonfire and stuff like that, where you can heal 4%. It's nice, but this gives you 2 stacks, which I like a little bit better. Facing affliction lock, they may be able to lock you out, but you're able to do a little bit more in the sense that, yeah, you're going to get silenced when you cleanse their dots. But that's also going to, that fucks up their burst. That messes their burst up, and you're silenced for 4 seconds, so if you got everybody topped off, pop it, take the silence, and move on. Because if you got your totems down, they got affliction lock, obviously they're dots. So you take those dots off of people, that's a game changer right there. Especially when you have 2 stacks of it, because that's multiple people. When they cast havoc on you or somebody else and start applying the dots to everybody, you throw those 2 down, dots are gone. They're DPS shit. So that's something you have to look at, kind of play it by the comp you're playing against, and certain things like that. So next, we're going to go on to rotations. There's really not a set rotation for heal. Heal is all situational. So here, the one thing I do want to go over is you want to make sure that you have Earth Shield up. You have to have Earth Shield up. So I'm popping Earth Shield. It's up. Simply because you want to make sure this is always up at all times. You want to make sure you have Water Shield and your whoever you're playing with, your partner has Earth Shield because of the increased healing by 20%, and they're getting healed when they get hit. So this is definitely something you have to have up. Something else, when you're healing you or anybody else, you want to have Unleashed Life up. It is dire that you have it up. Simply because, like I talked about earlier, the healing effect that it has. Boom. It's 173k there, guys. It's crazy. That's a big difference from normal healing surge. 88k. 115k. That was a nice one, but right here, boom, 170. That's a big difference there. So you always want to make sure you have Earth Shield and Unleashed Life up. And you want to make sure you have Riptide up at all times too for that initial healing. And something I see a lot is when I'm on my DK and I'm playing with people and I face shamans. Now, a lot of them are normally enhanced shamans. I don't see a lot of Resto Shaman healers anymore, but they don't use healing tide, or they use healing tide totems, and they use their healing totems, but they never use cap totems. And cap totem, trimmer totem, grounding totem. They never use any of these. Even Windwalker totem. They spec into it, but they don't use it. So you really have to utilize what totems you're using. Yes, use your healing totems over anything. I agree with that 110%. But don't just use those. Use cap totem. If I'm getting trained, boom, cap totem. If I'm getting, cap totem's going to stun them. Then I have Earthbind totem here, which is going to root them. And then I have Tremor totem, which is going to get me out of fear, charm, etc. And even, Windwalker totem there. That's going to get you out of a lot as well. And that's something that, movement effects, anything there. Like we talked about in talents, hamstring, gouge, certain things like that. It's going to get you out of those. And make sure you use your Cloudburst totem. So basically, and rotation is just situational. But, you want to make sure that's up. And you want to make sure you have Earth Shield on your totem. So you want to make sure Earth Shield's up, and you want to make sure Unleashed Life's up at all times. And Riptide. Those are your 3 main things you need to worry about having up at all times. And you always want to watch for your procs on your tidal waves. Sorry about that. You always want to make sure those are up. And you always want to make sure that you're purging and wind shearing. Purging and wind shearing can mean difference in games. You're knocking icy veins off. You're knocking certain things off of your stats off. You're knocking all kinds of stuff off of the enemy team by doing that. And by wind shearing, you're locking them down. You know, they're trying to you're playing a healer comp, and they're trying to throw a heal. Boom, wind shear, they're locked. They throw a priest bubble up. Boom, you take that from them. There's just certain things you can do as a healer that's really going to help your teammate and help your teammate do damage, purging everything you can. And interrupting. It's a 12-second interrupt. You got to make sure you do that. And the CC. Shaman's CC is not the best CC in the game. It's a 45-second cooldown. If you glyph it, I'm pretty sure it takes it down to like a 30 or so. But it's not the best CC in the game. So you definitely want to be purging and wind sharing. Other than that, it's really situational. Just make sure you have your, like I said, you have your Earth Shield on them. You want to make sure you rip Tide, and you want to make sure you use the Unleashed Life. Now, let's move on to add-ons. So my add-ons. I have Bartender, but Bartender deals with my Gladius, or not Gladius, but my Spartan UI. I have to have Bartender for it. I have Gladius, which is a must-have. Gladius does so many things. DRs, cooldowns, trinkets, anything they use, it's going to show you. You got Last Second, which is basically the same thing, but I'm pretty sure it goes with Gladius possibly. I'm not sure. And Lose Control, which actually pops your CC up on the target's picture, which is also very nice. The MK or MIK scrolling battle text is actually that's why my heals go out here to the side. I personally like it. Some people don't. I do. That's why I like having my stuff come down here to the side like that. So I mean, it's depending on what you like, but I like it. That goes MSBT goes with you have to have it for the scrolling battle text. Omnibar, must have if you PvP and you're doing arenas. Now Gladius, Last Second, Omnibar, you're probably not going to use those in BGs. To be honest, you're probably not going to be using those. In Omnibar you're not, but in arenas you have to have these add-ons. It is dire. Omnibar is going to show you enemy cooldowns. So anything you have that they have to use against you is going to be shown right at the bottom of my screen. Mine actually pops up right here, right under my character portrait here in my map. It pops up right here and shows me basically what it is for is to know when it's safe to cast and when it's not safe to cast. So if I'm sitting here and I'm moving around and I really need to heal, I can look down there and see if I need to go to my hots or if I need to go to my big hills. And if I need to create space, if I need to throw down my cap totem, it's situational too. It can, I mean, you know, if I need to throw down certain things, I can look and say, oh, okay, their wind shear's on cooldown. Okay, their kidney shot's on cooldown. There's kick, pummel. There's all kinds of things that I can see down there that's going to be on cooldown. Their big burst, I can time up their burst even with it. So Omnibar is a must-have. Recount is not really a must-have. I mean, you know, you can do without Recount. The rest is just DM Deadly Boss mod and Spartan UI and stuff like that. That's just extra stuff I have. But Recount is something I really have on here because of my DK, where I play DK a lot. It's just something extra to have on here. But Recount can also help you in healing from, you know, you see what other people's doing, how you can judge how you did, how you can see what they use differently, the cooldowns they used, the spells they casted more, and certain stuff like that to really enhance what you're doing. So now we'll go over macros, and I am not a big macro guy at all. I have very few macros. As you can see, I have one macro. You know, that is not a lot at all. I have one macro because I'm honestly where I have I play with a Razor Naga and a Razor Tatardus, and most of the buttons I'm going to be hitting is right there on my fingers, and I like that better. I don't like macros, but I do have a few macros. I don't know why I don't think I saved my wind shear over here, but I have Ascendance macro to everything. My Ascendance macro pops Ascendance, Spirit Walker's Grace, Ancestral Guidance, Blood Fury, my Racial, and my Trinket. So, you know, when I'm popping this, I'm popping everything I got. So, I mean, I'm popping this, and everything I got's being used right now. You know, I mean, it's wild because I'm popping off everything I got, and I mean that's definitely a oh shit button. It is, but you know, it can save you. It really can. And that is my macros. Really, well, I have two other macros. I don't know why they're not here, and I'm not gonna dig through them because I've been rambling on a long time. But my other macros is for my Purge, Arena Target, slash Cast Purge, Arena Target 1, Arena Target 2, slash Cast Wind Shear, Arena Target 1, Arena Target 2, which is something else you really need to have for your high ranking. When you're pushing 1800s to 2000s, you know, and even up into the high 2000s, you need to have these macros. You have to have them. And I think this is something that'll put you above a lot of people, is using the wind shear, using the purge effectively, and following a lot of the stuff I said. You know, I'm new to it as well. You know, I'm just here to help. My gear is not the best. Going on to gear, this is the last thing we'll be going over. Gear, I'm not geared much at all, but I feel that I'm a pretty competent player and pretty good. So this guide's really for people gearing and people first getting into arenas and stuff like that. This is dire. When you're first gearing, it may not look like the PvP gear. It may not have the best stats on it. But if you want to get in Battlegrounds and not get the living shit beat out of you, you need to have the two trinkets for the 15% less damage to players. You have to have it. And, you know, you obviously, I'm not a human, and they're the only people that has the only race that has the basically a trinket for a racial. You have to have the trinket for the removing all impairing effects. You have to have it. And honestly, you can go with the versatility. I like going with the versatility because it's going to make me cast. Versatility increases everything. I mean, it's a great stat. It's going to make me, you know, cast with higher numbers when I'm healing and stuff like that. And the other one I went with the mastery because the mastery for shamans is obviously the best stat. And the versatility, that's the one I have macroed into my ascendants. But the trinket is dire. You have to have trinkets starting out or you're going to get shit on. And, you know, it doesn't sound great. It's, you know, it's not the biggest damage effective thing. It's not the biggest, you know, the biggest stat you're going to get, but it's going to give you that 15% less damage from players, and that is dire. And a get out of jail free card with your remove all movement impairing effects. It's gonna be dire. You have to have the trinkets first. And then, you know, I went with mastery. In chance you want versatility and you want mastery. You want to kind of balance that out. But you want Mark of Warsong on your weapon for the mastery. As you can see, I have a ton of blues. I'm really in the process of gearing, but I want to make a video just to see how it goes. And like I said, I'm gonna go with mastery here. And I'll probably go with versatility on my rings, to be honest. I'm working towards my legendary ring. So I'll probably go with versatility on my rings and then mastery on my neck. Because I have the big mastery on my weapon. And I would like to get another mastery enchant and then go with 2 verse. But that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Comment, like, whatever. And this is Zen Gaming. Appreciate it.